Hey guys, just checking back in. I did change, but I changed back into my frumpy clothes because I'm gonna do some laundry. And yeah, but we had our play date in the rain, but it was still fun. Got outside. It was a good time to get outside, and it's kind of slowing down. That's a lie. It's not slowing down. And we came home and had some lunch outside of some snacky foods, and two of my kids are just chilling with a show right now while the baby naps, late nap, but he's been napping really late since they've been off school. He's just too excited. So with them here, and that's okay because they pretty much end up going to bed late now with the sun. It's too bright out. We have blackout curtains, but I don't know. And then they sleep in, so it is what it is. My husband's probably the most tired because he gets up and works very early, like 4 a.m. Most days of the week. So anyways, I just wanted to come on here and do a quick clear thought update with the things that I'm hoping to change, and I've been thinking about them for a while. So a few things that have been going on is my oldest has a lot of emotional roller coaster because he's on spectrum. He's very high functioning, and he had a rough time at school a little bit, but it's better when the schedule is lighter. However, he does need to know things that are happening, so I'm wanting to have things happen for him but not be super busy all summer. So nice to have some family time. He is also that preteen age now, so I feel like since our first is now preteen age, we're reaching that, and we've had 3 other kids, is time has gone so fast, but we've been in this haze of raising little ones. So I almost feel over these years I've missed him, and I'm getting to know him again now, and hoping to just slow us down as a family and bring us closer together as a family. And I feel even my husband and I, we're just go with what needs to be done. And we try and slow down together, but we don't have a lot of one-on-one time ever. We don't really schedule date nights, and when he's not working, we want to have family time because he works so much. And up until I had our 4th kid, I was working full-time too, and that was really busy, and sometimes it was late nights, and I was doing school. Even before that, when I was in a different job that was part-time, I was also doing my master's. So it's just been busy for years. I went back to school to do my master's in social work when I was pregnant with my second, and then I had her, and so I kind of did it slowly over the years. And anyways, so I feel we're reaching a place right now that we have now sold, and we're looking for a bigger space, hopefully our forever home, but who knows, the market is still really high for regular families, and we have a lot of expenses outside of everyday living costs with the 4 kids and unknowns and things like that. And I'm not going back to work, so I'm now a stay-at-home mom, and that's been good, being able to pick up the kids after school, not have to rush to before care, and after school care, which is so funny because it was a really difficult decision to cancel their daycare. Their daycare was fantastic, and they had a lot of fun and friends there, but the meltdowns after my second child, when she was in kindergarten, is when she was doing daycare, and then pretty much didn't do it at all for grade 1 and only did it for the first half of kindergarten. And then I pulled them out, and my son was so used to it, but the meltdowns after, like, they were just so tired from full day, and like usually hungry. They would have snacks and stuff, but they wouldn't always eat their lunch, or they wouldn't always like the snack at daycare, and that's fine, or they just want more. And yeah, it's just, they still have their after school like kind of meltdowns in the car. We're not walking distance, so we drive. It's not a far drive right now, thankfully, but sometimes we'll stay and play after and let, you know, my 2 younger ones like run around a little bit with them after school, which is fun. And it was just like a nice routine. And my oldest does some tutoring, which has helped him like catch up, which is great, because that was a huge reason why he was having such a hard time in school previous years, because it wasn't like clicking. And now everything's clicking, and he's kind of caught up, and he's generally not terribly miserable after school, but he definitely needs some like non-people time. So like there's lots of changes I'm like would love to make and jump into, but they're big decisions, and I can't just make them as a one parent. So, you know, some things I think my husband's not like totally on board for, but he can understand where I'm coming from, which is good, which was like a thought of homeschooling for just my oldest. And even I'm thinking my 3rd child, who's pretty young, and we have some things she's struggling with, like different personal care things, and like her soother. She's obsessed with the soother, and she's like pretty old. You know, she's going to be starting kindergarten, and she still wants her soother, and it's really hard. And I think it's been hard for her when her dad works out of town, and it's just me, and it's been really busy, and the baby's like kind of toddler age now and pretty all over the place. So trying to give every single one of them to meet their needs, I feel like I'm just kind of like not doing it in the most joyful, calm way, which obviously, why would they be patient? They're searching for comfort outside of that, because there's always some like mess or explosion or fight or whatever. So, you know, I want to work on increasing my frustration tolerance because it's low. It's been lower. I feel like I'm much more patient now, but I have really rough days still, and I don't get a lot of sleep because my youngest is still breastfeeding, and he chooses to do so mainly at night. So there's some things that I would love to change: drop the soother, decrease meltdowns, increase my frustration tolerance, try and like maybe night wean if I can, and just get like be able to coach my children through sibling disagreements and not be like physical, because there's some like hitting and pinching and like kind of back and forth and tattling, and it feels like I'm just a referee. Like, what are they learning? They're not. But I'm just in reactive mode, and it's so easy to fall into that. And it doesn't seem to matter like what I listen to and what I read, and oh, I know it, but you're just so in reactive mode. So my goal is this summer to be able to slow down, because we don't have like activities like dance and like baseball going on. Although one of my kids, my 3rd, is going to try out a different gymnastics place. but even that will be in the evening. So I won't necessarily have to bring all of them because my husband will be home from work and he's local right now. So that's good. So one of us could probably take her and it won't be too crazy, and then the other can make dinner. But and the other things is like we have a small space. I've been dreaming of a dining room with a big table where we can all sit at, because it's just been like, as I'm making dinner, I'm serving them plates over the years, and some of them will sit at the table, but we can't all sit at the table, and we have a folding wooden table, and it's a lot of work to like set it all up for all of us. And then, you know, and they're so hungry, and or I was breastfeeding the baby as he was younger, or he was in the carrier kind of thing while I was cooking, and trying to clean up at the same time, and then I would just eat after. And they're pretty picky eaters, but that's another thing. It's just giving in to giving them different things, or making like an extra thing because they don't like what's being served, and feeling like I can't even think about what meals to make anymore. Like I have no like appetite really. Like I'm hungry, but like I can't think of anything yummy that I want to make to be able to meal plan that everybody will like. And so we kind of get stuck in making like the same things. We do like creative meals, and like we'll make sushi from home, and like stir fries and pasta and tacos and stuff. But there's always an element of those that one of the kids doesn't like. And so then we're making something else. And I feel like we're going through so much food and there's so much waste. What I love about summer this year, since I'm not working, and last year I wasn't working either because I was on maternity leave still, is that I don't have to pack lunches. So I'm like praying that that means less food waste, because packing lunches and having it come back and my kid yell that they're starving and I'm trying to make dinner, and then they're eating all of the snacks, and then they don't want to eat dinner, but they haven't eaten the lunch that I've packed, is very frustrating. So to be able to just feed them when they're hungry, or put out sharing plates to like decrease that waste, is just awesome. Like it was better during spring break. It was better over Christmas break. But yeah, I just want to get them more involved in the things that they can do. So you can see like their beds, they're a little messy. Normally I make all the beds and I put all the laundry away, and I do like all the cleaning, and I do all the cooking obviously when my husband's out of town, but he likes to cook. So he does most cooking when he's here, unless he works late. And I just can't even think of the meals. So to like cook while somebody's screaming at me, that's the other thing. It's loud. It's loud in our house. I mean, the baby's loud, and then I have to be loud, and I don't want to be loud. But yeah, it leads to headaches. So I want to get them more involved to feel confident, and I want to set clearer. I'm pretty good. I was really bad in the past of saying no to something and then like sticking to it. I'm pretty good at doing that. I've tried to make it a point to say to them, if I've said no and it changes, it's not because you're whining. It's because I've been thinking about it and then justified it for a different reason. So like, you know, if I've said, no, we're not getting any treats, you know, at the store or whatever, but then I want to treat myself or I'm like, we're going to watch a movie or something, you know, fine, you can get a treat, but it's not because they whined for it, you know? So like little things like that, just trying to stick to my no's, stick to my yeses, trying to be less worried about the mess and just be more with them and doing things. Like the other day, my son, we had these like water balloons where you fill up like 20 at a time. So my son wanted to do these water balloons, but it was kind of chilly and it was morning. And I said, well, like, why don't we wait until it gets hot in the afternoon? And then he kept kind of asking throughout the day. I was like, why don't we wait for another day and we can like take them to the park where the pool is. And we can like have a friend and do it and make it like this fun thing. And he was disappointed. And I thought, why am I like fighting against this so bad? He wants to fill up these balloons. And I was thinking like, I'm going to have to fill up all these balloons and carry it out there. And then I got to monitor their kids on the front yard, which is outside of our deck. If the baby's out there, I got to be out there. And then I'm going to like clean up all these bits and it's going to be a mess. So all this thing, I'm thinking of this and it's annoying to me, right? Like, why do you need to do this right now? It's chilly out and like whatever. And you're all going to be in your bathing suits and stuff. So then I thought like, you know, just do it. Just let him do it. And he can fill it. So I showed him how to do the first one. And then him and his his younger siblings joined him, and then it was a fun time, and it was like half an hour and they had a blast. So like saying yes to things instead of like immediately shutting it down and like giving them more independence and stuff like that. So I have made like this skills summer learning camp. I don't want to hold it up too long because I want to try and keep their names to themselves. But like purchasing things that are appropriate and understanding to like wait for change and how much change you get, and helping to plan some dinners because that's been a thing, and making a grocery list for those dinners and sending the older two in, since they can read now. They can read and write a list and they can go and find the things. They come to the grocery store with us all the time, but it's always been a battle and we often forget things because we're managing them instead of getting what we need. And it doesn't matter how many times we've said, you know, if I don't have to keep chasing you, we're out of here quicker. So just getting them more involved. Like obviously we've said, oh, go grab those apples and like put it in here and whatever. But just trying to make them more in charge of it, I think is going to be helpful. And, you know, if we get takeout, maybe getting them to work on like, what are we ordering, and ordering it on the phone for us and things like that. Like sometimes they'll put away dishes with me, but just like leaning back on it and letting them do more of those things. And like the laundry, they know how to throw it in the laundry, but they don't know which buttons I normally push. And just to like pay attention, like time to switch it over. So we're going to do a life skills and goals like camp thing this summer. And I printed out like a big chart, but, I'm going to print out individual ones for them and talk through with each of them, you know, how they think they want to go about this, and that there isn't a timeline. It doesn't even have to, they don't all have to be accomplished. Maybe they want to not do one of them and add a different thing that they think. So yeah, that's kind of like what I was thinking this summer. And then other things, I've looked at are different homeschooling things. How We Learn is one of them. And so I have a summer camp at home. It's a nature program. It's 6 weeks. And I've gone through some of the like I put it all out in a binder. You just print it. You get like a digital thing, or you can get it mailed to yourself. But they have like different topics and suggested books. And so we've already gone to the library last week and got some of the suggested books, and we've read some of them, parts of some of them, and watched a video. So the first one's all about pollinators, and my third child is just like obsessed with flowers and bugs and all those things. So she's kind of like our little forager. So on a walk yesterday, I just feel like we need to bring like a vase along wherever we go, because she's constantly picking flowers, and we're house hunting. So every time we go to a new house, if there's a garden, she cannot hear us. She does not hear us when we say, no, stop, don't pick that. So like, it's perfect to start with topics on pollinators. And there's like a matching game, which is really cute. And I got myself like a laminator. You don't have to, but I just like moths. So there's a bunch of them. And then there's a unit all about like the sun and light and yeah, hummingbirds, honeybees, different things like that. But yeah, lemurs. I did not know a lemur was a pollinator. Like, who knew? I had no idea. So I'm just excited to like learn with them and try and get some of that joy back in parenting and understanding. Like, this is where, you know, what I was saying at the end of my last video, where scripture like really plays a part. Because I think our generation, at least for me, it's like, yes, we want them to learn and to teach them, but I never really thought of parenting, I don't know, as like I am their teacher and I'm raising them to leave me. It's like I know that, but deep down I wasn't acting like that. And yes, we need to set boundaries, and we have, but I feel like we haven't done it in a way that is as concrete and clear cut as it should be. And, you know, having our first, it was like all about gentle parenting and stuff. And like gentle parenting is important, but I clearly wasn't doing it correctly either. It was more of like being a pleaser and how to not make them uncomfortable and just overprotective, and also worried about how do I look, worried about how I'm coming off as a parent, worried about, you know, the meltdowns and like the things that are teaching moments. They're them learning and me being uncomfortable, and I wasn't okay with being uncomfortable. So I just am trying to shift and, you know, find peace in that and give my kids grace, because it's not their fault. Like, it's not their fault. I'm a reactive person. We're all reactive, and it takes so much practice, and I am almost 40, and why am I expecting my 10-year-old or almost 2-year-old, you know, and 7-year-old not to be mean and reactive when I sound grumpy? I don't want to be grumpy. I want to be excited. I want to be excited and learn, and not have them think back to like how their mom was this crazy, loud, grumpy person who, yes, did a lot with them, but also sounded frustrated and annoyed, you know, or like always needing things clean. That was the hardest part about having showings to sell this place, is I felt like it needed to look perfect. And then I go to other homes and it almost seems like, you know, who cares? You know, they got toys out and things, and we had stuff out, but not a lot. And I was like, why am I killing myself and spending the whole day like cleaning and putting things away and taking things out of the house to make it look as spotless and as like open and perfect as I can, when I'm taking that time away from my kids? Like, I wasn't spending time with them. You know, on a day when we had showings, it was like I just did what needed, like the little bits that I needed to do. Get, you know, them down for a nap, feed them, change them. And then I was grouchy. I was just cleaning, ignoring them. So anyways, This is so long. I'm so sorry. If you're like, have listened to all of this, thank you. Like, I really appreciate this. Just a lot on my heart about some of the changes and ways that I'm going to try and implement the changes, and kind of report back on like how it's going, basically, because this is the during change part, and who knows, maybe some things will work great and others won't. Maybe it'll be totally different by the end of the summer. Maybe it'll be just, I don't know. Maybe somebody else can benefit. But anyways, those are two of the main things that I'll be doing. Trying to read more too. Like, excited about reading more. Heading to the library was great with the kids last week, and they're reading more independently, doing lots of read alouds. I always read at bedtime unless I have like a pounding headache or something, or it's like 10 o'clock. But at least they love when I'm reading to them. So that's one thing that at least I can feel good about at the end of the day, is I'm reading something to them that makes them feel comfort. So, yeah, if there's any suggestions of things that like you have done that's actually made changes in a season where everything feels like you can't slow down to like implement a change. Like, that's what it feels like. I can't slow down enough to implement the change. I just need to jump in and like little tweaks and see what big things happen. But if you've found something successful, like, please let me know. I love looking at different like resources and different ways people are trying to just have a calmer, more peaceful home and peaceful heart. And or things that you're struggling with, like, are there behavior issues you're struggling with, or school stuff you're struggling with, or have you had to change schools because of difficulties of like that your kids have had, or transitions from going into kindergarten after not remembering ever being in daycare. That's going to be for us. Would love to hear it. So drop a comment, or like and subscribe. I don't know. This is only video too, so we'll see. Probably like out there in the universe somewhere. But thanks so much, and have a good one.